about it. I actually think the Red Sox might not suck this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Me.
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMazMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
How would you describe just kind of your emotional takeaway from this deadline? Are you disappointed you didn't get more done? Are you pleased with what you did? Just how would you square that?
Yeah, I think all of those emotions can be true at the same time, in that, we're happy with the guys that we brought in with Steven and Dustin. But we also pursued real impact players that we felt like could improve our team in 25 and beyond. Like I said, we were kind of uncomfortably aggressive in trying to pursue them, and the players that we were willing to put into deals. And ultimately, it wasn't from a lack of effort. Other teams needed to say, hey, that's enough, or that crosses the line. But like I said, it wasn't about, an unwillingness to talk about our full system. And I think in a lot of ways, some of the deals that we've made, talking about the Crochet deal as an example, and a willingness to give up some of our best young players to improve our major league team, that was instructive in terms of how we approached this deadline. But, ultimately we didn't line up with other teams in those pursuits.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good, as in it's so bad. I thought maybe I had calmed down over the last 24 hours, Milliken, until I heard that. I had not heard that last night. I somehow missed that Craig Breslow came out and said, well, we were so aggressive that teams said, you're being too aggressive. Stop trying to give us all your good players. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, dude? You moron. Like you expect me or anybody else to believe that thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to start out this hot.
McCarthy, it's only been 24 hours. This isn't a crazy reaction. You're still feeling it. And on the anniversary of the 24 hours, it should be popping out a little bit.
No. We were so aggressive that teams said, you're crazy. We won't even deal with you. You're trying to give us too much. Are you on drugs? Like, do you expect me to believe that that's how this went down? Oh, it insults my intelligence. It insults the intelligence of every Red Sox fan out there. No, the reason why we didn't make trades yesterday is because we were offering too much.
An organization like the Twins, McCarthy, that let go 10 of 26 players. They're the kind of organization that could say, you know what, Craig, you're a nice fellow. We're not going to rob you blind. We're not going to take everything you have. Peyton Tolley, Franklin Arias, you're throwing out Marcelo and Roman. Hey, there's a limit. We're not going to take everything from you. That's way too far. No, ultimately you didn't offer enough. That's what it is. That's when deals don't get done. There's no Pobo in baseball that's telling a team, sorry, that's too much. We're not going to rob you.
A Pobo?
President of baseball operations. It's better than CBO.
We have a Bobo here.
Oh, God. Bar. Okay.
That's the takeaway. It's McCarthy, Milliken, Jimmy Stewart here with you in for Maz on the Baseball Hour tonight on the eve after everything comes crumbling down for the Red Sox. What a blow. What a blow that trading deadline was yesterday for the team, their reputation around baseball, which is already probably in the toilet anyway. We'll get to Ken Rosenthal's comments a little bit later on. We'll get to some comments made by Bob Nightingale, really, showing you where the Red Sox stand and how people feel about the Red Sox around baseball. But what a blow to the fans. That's where I want to start tonight, Milliken, because yesterday hurt. Yesterday hurt as a Red Sox fan. In some ways, that hurt me more than the Devers trade. And the Devers trade had plenty of problems with it. But at least I could kind of get on board with the idea of maybe, just maybe, and I understand that they did this for the money, but maybe they'll go out and add at the deadline. Getting Devers away from the young players is, like, I can understand that. I can make that argument. I can defend it a little bit, just a smidge. I can't defend what happened yesterday in any way, shape, or form, and it's a blow to Red Sox fans everywhere. This team has given me some level of hope this year, some level of excitement, some level of belief, some feeling about baseball again, which in recent years has been stripped from me. And you go out and you do this, and you F up this deadline like you wouldn't possibly believe. It's going to take me a while to come back from this. I'm stung, man. There's no other way to say it. I'm stung. That's where I start.
Understandable. We're talking about a team that had 60% playoff odds, holding the second wild card, and I think what makes it so painful is what the teams around you did. You know, you could say you don't believe in the Yankees, they're collapsing and kind of falling apart. Well, that team just built a super bullpen. They couldn't get the starter they wanted, but it was okay. They said, we're going to go get Bednar and Doval. We'll get Jake Bird. We're going to shore up third base. We're going to get Ryan McMahon and Med Rosario, a good little platoon they can play over there. They went and made these moves. You look at the Seattle Mariners. They won the trade deadline. They got Eugenio Suarez. They got Josh Naylor without giving up one of their top 10 prospects in their entire system. And yes, I know they're a top 3 system in the sport right now. And the Red Sox, they're probably closer to top 10 at this point in time. But still, that speaks to how possible it was to get these guys. And it wasn't like there was a ridiculous amount of money. None of these moves would have sent you above the second tier of the luxury tax, which the Red Sox are still $10 million away from. Keep in mind, the Red Sox right now are $10 million over the luxury tax. So if they come back next year and they want to tell you, oh, well, we need to reset because we went over and things didn't work out for us, man, that sounds a lot like the 2022 deadline for Chaim Bloom, and arguably what was the biggest thing that got him fired. But when you look at that, when even the Blue Jays, who didn't stun me with what they did, but they went and got Shane Bieber for the number 5 guy in their system. Not a top 100 guy. Someone that has been kind of compared to a Connolly earlier, or David Sandlin, the number 9 and 10 prospect in the Red Sox system. Someone you finished as a runner-up for over the offseason. Keep that in mind. All these teams around you put in the work to get better. Even the Rangers, who are 2 games behind you, just out of a wild card spot. What did they do? They got the best rental on the market that you were connected to. Merrill Kelly, who won a game for the Diamondbacks in the World Series a couple years ago, has had a sub 3.4 ERA in 3 of the last 4 seasons, screams Jordan Montgomery, and that's not all they did either. They went and got Phil Maton. They added the lefty from Baltimore. Like, all these teams went out and did more than you. The team, there are 2 teams or 1 team directly above you, the 2 teams right behind you. And yet Craig Breslow had tunnel vision so badly on Joe Ryan. Somehow he ended up with Dustin May as his answer to a rotation that already has workload concerns with Garrett Crochet, who's never pitched a full year before, with Lucas Giolito coming off elbow surgery. What's your answer? Dustin May, who hasn't thrown 100 innings in a year since 2019, a guy you just beat the crap out of less than a week ago. That was the best you could do? Unreal.
A piece of my soul left my body when I saw that pass and tweet come out. The Boston Red Sox have traded for, knowing that the Joe Ryan thing is going on, Dustin May. Oh, sweet, merciful Jesus. Dustin May, that's what you did. That's what you got done. And you're hitting on the most important point, Milliken. This comes down to Craig Breslow and his failures. There's a lot going on with the Red Sox. There are ownership problems. There's money problems, spending problems, you name it. Yesterday is a direct reflection of a general manager who does not know what the hell he's doing and can't get business done because he can't work with people. That's my takeaway from yesterday. Everybody else in baseball, as you just laid out, got stuff done at this deadline. And Craig Breslow comes out an hour later and says, well, it's not that we weren't offering enough. We were offering too much. You got to be kidding me. Eventually, you're the problem, dude. You're the issue. What the hell happened yesterday?
We talk about too many cooks in the kitchen, 6 assistant GMs, and whatever Brian O'Halloran's doing there as a senior executive. Jay Stu, what does Brian O'Halloran do for the Red Sox?
Making sure that Sam Kennedy knows everything that's going on. He's the mole.
All these guys hanging around here, and you couldn't multitask to work out another deal. Hell, the Tigers traded for Charlie Morton, who has a sub-4 ERA since May 1st, and gave up a prospect outside of their top 30. And you said, you know what? Take our number 10 and number 30 prospect, the second best piece in Tibbs you got for Rafael Devers, send him for Dustin May, who's leaving in 2 months and is more likely to break down in the next month because he's had injuries his whole career and has never pitched 100 innings in a season until this year at the big league level.
What a dysfunctional dumpster fire the Boston Red Sox are.
By the way, Milliken makes a good point about having a staff of like hundreds for the Red Sox, and you're stuck on one player, on one situation. As soon as the Joe Ryan deal wasn't going to happen, the Tampa Rays swooped in and stole Griffin Jacks, the reliever.
From the Red Sox.
You couldn't have somebody else working that deal. By the way, I meant to put this out on Twitter. Sugar Dave Dombrowski almost got Joe Ryan at the deadline.
I can believe it.
Wouldn't shock me one bit. They got Duran for 2 top 100 prospects. They weren't scared. They jumped on that deal, and that was seeing forward. because you know what's going to happen next year. Aroldis Chapman isn't on this team anymore. So, figuring out who your closer for the next couple of years is going to be seems pretty important. I love Justin Slayton. He's been on the 60-day IL 2 years in a row.
That's a bigger picture thing, which we can get into on another day. I think the major takeaway from this, and I'll get your thoughts on it at 617-779-0985, is that Craig Breslow's not cut out for the job. And it's not that he didn't identify the right player. You believe they were in on Joe Ryan, right, Milliken?
100%.
Yes. Jimmy, I mean, we know how you feel about it. You were reporting on this all yesterday. The Red Sox were in on Joe Ryan.
I thought I had it.
Jimmy, I think you did have it.
I thought I was going to beat everybody.
Jay Stu, your texts were lining up with what was going on in the Section 10 reaction room. That's all I got to say.
So we're not reporters, all right? We can't go into details.
I'm a gossip guy.
The Red Sox were in on Joe Ryan.
Up until the deadline, yep, and they ran out of time.
Didn't Craig Breslow's reaction tell you how much they loved Joe Ryan and wanted him? You could see the disappointment in his face.
Breslow has...
But apparently he didn't love him enough to do whatever it takes to get the player. And that's the crime here. That's the true crime that was committed here, is that you can love a player and you want that player, but do you really want him when the deadline is right there in front of you? Are you going to do what it takes to get him? Theo Epstein did that when he traded Gleyber Torres for Chapman the year the Cubs won. Theo traded Nomar, which was a value less to fix a, quote, fatal flaw, unquote. And now you have a player, you're at the 5-yard line and you can't get it over into the red zone, to make a football analogy. You can't get the runner in from third base. Like, you got to get it done. Otherwise, you really don't love the player. You're in love with your baseball's America prospect rankings more than you are with an actual major league talent that slots in nicely behind Garrett Crochet.
We'll never know how it truly went down. And you have reporting on the Twins side of it that the Red Sox offer was feeble, that it wasn't very close. I'm going to tell you, the way the Red Sox have talked in the last 24 hours, Milliken, as you just pointed out, Craig Breslow sounded like a guy who thought he had a deal done and it was close and they just couldn't pull the trigger. They couldn't get it done. Whatever that is, it speaks to a problem with the general manager and his ability to work with people. Which brings me to a comment that Bob Nightingale made today or last night about...
No, it was today. It was somewhere around noontime, I think, today with the Foul Territory crew.
What did Bob Nightingale have to say about the way Craig Breslow is perceived around baseball?
Well, when you talk to GMs around the game, said it's very tough to deal with the Red Sox and Craig Breslow in particular. And if they're really going for it, they did a poor job because the Yankees got a whole lot better. Blue Jays got better. So I think they're going to be on the outside looking in. I think the fact they didn't do anything, they may be sitting home and the Texas Rangers take their place as that wild card team.
Craig Breslow is tough to deal with, according to Bob Nightingale. Does that make sense? Yeah. I mean, that seems to be truthful to me, given that everybody else around baseball was able to make deals yesterday, because you need to make a deal as a human being and as a business person. And Craig Breslow can't do that. He can't work with people. One of the primary reasons Rafael Devers is gone is because Craig Breslow couldn't communicate with Rafael Devers like a human being. That was his fault in all of that. And I blame Devers for the majority of it, but Breslow's inability to communicate with a player like a normal person hurt him there, the same way that it appears that Craig Breslow's ability to communicate with another general manager or general managers across the sport prevented him from doing what everybody else around baseball was able to do yesterday, which is make trades happen, consummate deals, because that involves working on a person-to-person basis, and he can't effing do it.
He got played by the Twins, and they let him believe to whatever degree that this deal was going to get done. That's the job, Craig Breslow. You can't get played by these other guys who are all trying to rob each other and all trying to come away and win these deals. You got tricked, and somehow that stopped you. Because listen, I'm okay not getting Joe Ryan right now.
I'm not.
That's fair, Jay Stu. There wasn't a lot of controllable starters in general moved at this deadline. We talked Sandy Alcantara. We talked Edward Cabrera, Mitch Keller. Pick your poison, whoever you want. Those guys didn't go anywhere. But there's no excuse not to get a Suarez, to get a Naylor, to get a Merrill Kelly. These guys who are rentals that do not cost the world and could have helped your team. You are looking for a bat and you never got one. We know they were in on Suarez. We've seen the reports. We know they wanted Yandy Diaz, and there was seemingly not much traction there because the Rays didn't want to move him. So you are looking for a bat that and you said, you know what, we're good. We'll ride with Abraham Toro, who has a sub 600 OPS the last month. And we're talking, those quotes from Bob Nightingale, I went and read Chaim Bloom back in 2023. Alex Spear wrote kind of the obituary right after he got fired. This was the quote that was in there on Chaim Bloom. That approach added to fairly widespread frustration among other clubs when it came to making trades with Bloom, who was viewed as a difficult trade partner who overvalued his own players. Is that not what we're talking about right here? It's the same way it's being described. And listen, Chris Antonetti over in Cleveland gets it all the time. He does great things over there. But I'm telling you, this is another label that was on Chaim that is now seemingly transferring over to the Craig Breslow area.
Guys don't want to work with him for whatever that reason may be. Maybe they did overvalue their prospects. No, Breslow came out yesterday and really pushed back against that. What's he going to say in that spot? I understand. I get it. But you know what? I'm going to give Breslow the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was willing to include Peyton Tolley and Franklin Arias. Maybe he was willing to trade the whole farm system for Joe Ryan, which is kind of what he has said in the last 24 hours. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But what it comes down to is he can't work with somebody else 5 minutes before the deadline. He can't call somebody and say, let's cut the BS. Let's get this done. You want to make a deal. I want to make a deal. How do we work on this? Two people together. That's his biggest problem. And that's his biggest flaw. He can't handle people.
And I go back to the Garrett Crochet trade, and I was reading through some of that. Who was the guy that seemingly got everything over the ledge who was a big part in that? It was Mike Grootman. One of the guys Chaim Bloom hired, he worked on a lot of the analytical stuff now, is helping out with trades and signings. Mike Grootman was mentioned as kind of the guy when Craig Breslow went to bed the night before that was working with Chris Getz, the White Sox GM, to kind of figure out what they had to do to get the deal done.
You can do that in the offseason because you have time.
Exactly.
If you're an hour away from the deadline, how do you get it done? And that's a GM to GM thing. Make no mistake about it. Yesterday, there are plenty of issues with the Red Sox, but yesterday is on Craig Breslow. I see on the phone lines. We'll take care of you. 617-779-0985. Matt McCarthy, Tyler Milliken, Jimmy Stewart on the Baseball Hour on a day after, well, everything went to hell.
don't think this is about an unwillingness to include guys or anything like that. Teams have to like our players in order for that to happen. And, we went into this deadline feeling like, in order to accomplish what we needed to accomplish, what we hoped to accomplish, we couldn't take some of our young minor league players off the table. We couldn't go into this with untouchables, and we didn't. We were willing to talk about all of our guys in the name of improving the team. It just didn't work out.
Matt McCarthy, Tyler Milliken, Jimmy Stewart in for Maz tonight. We just spent the first 18 minutes of the program taking a steaming crap all over Craig Breslow, rightfully so. Can I defend him for 30 seconds there?
Please.
I believe him when he says that. I think he's being honest with you when he says that, we were willing to put any of our minor leaguers on the table. He's coming out and telling you we were willing to trade Peyton Tolley for Joe Ryan.
That's what it is. It's saying the guy that I love, the guy that's a top 50 prospect that I clearly think can be, a guy who maybe even helps down the stretch out of the bullpen, and the guy behind Crochet for years to come. I'll put him on the table because we're going to get the number 2.
He says we were willing to be aggressive. We were willing to get uncomfortable. That is being willing to be aggressive. I believe the Red Sox when they say that they were willing to trade anybody in their minor league system. So the question is, why didn't it happen? And the answer is they got played.
Yes.
The Red Sox got played. That's not on the Twins for playing them. Good for the Twins for playing them.
Derek Felvey did his job.
That's on Craig Breslow and the Red Sox for allowing themselves to get played. Is that a fair take?
Yes, because Red Sox thought in a world where you're not trading Wilyer Abreu or Jarren Duran, we can still get the deal done. I think we find out now with how many major leaguers they traded that, they did want one of those big league guys, someone who was already doing it that level, because they don't have a face of the franchise anymore. It was Carlos Correa, and Joe Ryan kind of steps into that. But on the position player side, Wilyer Abreu or Jarren Duran would have immediately become those guys, whether it was 3.5 years of team control for Abreu, all the way, he's not a free agent until 2030. And then Jarren Duran, who's not a free agent until 2029. But when those guys came out of the equation and we knew Craig Breslow couldn't deal them, Jarren Duran, 6 in OPS over the last month. We're talking the lineup has finally figured itself out a little bit over the last couple weeks, and it's with Roman 1, Bregman 2, and Duran 3. Duran in center, Marcelo Meyer goes down, Cedon Rafael is at second. The logjam fixed itself. Craig Breslow should have known, if I can't include these guys, there's a fair chance I need to pivot. He was not ready to pivot.
Do you think that they told him, Breslow or Cora or somebody said, you're not being traded, and that relieved all of this stress, and that's why he's come alive the last 30 days or so?
No, because I do think Craig would leave everything on
Wasn't
the table.
expecting that answer. I was expecting to say yes.
I don't think they would have told them that early, because I do think Craig's someone who would evaluate every option, but I think he also looked at it and said, we are 10th in WRC plus since we traded Rafael Devers, and that includes beating up on the Nationals and the Rockies and beating the brakes off of them. You take them out, they're a mediocre offense.
Let me ask you the same question, Stu, because that sounded like a Jimmy Stewart informed. I'm going to try and get Tyler Milliken to say something that I won't say. Very from the Mike Felger School of Facilitation. I don't want to say this, so I'm going to make you say it. Let me ask you, Stu, do you think the Red Sox told Jarren Duran he was not getting traded?
Somebody told me that may have happened.
Okay, so that brings me to the Alex Spear coverage last night, which is really good. Basically, and the gist of the Spear article is the Red Sox didn't get anything done because they weren't willing to trade guys from their big league roster. To which I say, give me a break. Give me a break with that. How did the Mariners get Suarez and Naylor?
Without
by trading
giving
prospects.
up a top 10 prospect.
How about Kelly to the Rangers? What did they trade?
I have it right here for
Prospects.
you. Oh,
don't tell me who, just prospects. Major leaguers or
9,
prospects?
14, 16.
Yankees bullpen arms. Anybody off their big league team?
Nope.
Prospects.
They went super pen.
The Twins traded everybody. What did they get in return? Prospects. So here's how I read this as I'm trying to piece together, as I'm trying to figure out what the hell happened. Because I've been shell-shocked over the last 24 hours as to how they screwed it up this badly. Here's my take. This is not informed. This is just me piecing together what Stu has said, what you have said, what I've read from Cotillo, what I've read from Spear, what I've read from everybody else, what I've heard from Rosenthal. My sense is the Red Sox thought they were close. The Twins knew they probably were never close, and the Twins were going to ask for something at the last minute because the Twins had all the leverage. So here's my guess. The Twins asked for Jarren Duran or Willie Abreu or something big,
one of the
last
big
minute, or they asked for Anthony Campbell Meyer, one of those things. The Red Sox thought they had a deal done with prospects. They asked for, say, it doesn't really matter the name, but they asked for Jarren Duran or Willie Abreu, and the Red Sox said, "Are you kidding me? Go screw." And the Twins say, well, yeah, we were never close because we were never going to do the deal. But that speaks to your point, Milliken, is the Red Sox thought they were close, the Twins knew they had the leverage, and they were going to ask for something late because they figured the Red Sox would be desperate because they didn't have anywhere else to pivot. And the Red Sox said, all right, we're not going to do it. We're going to trade for Dustin May, and that's it.
And that's
is that a fair assessment as to how maybe it all went down?
It has to be. When you talk about your Craig Breslow and you tell Rob Bradford, hey, we want a guy who could start a playoff game. Dustin May can't even start a regular season game for the Dodgers. You want him to start a playoff game for you? Good luck. It's just not plausible. The logic doesn't add up there. And it even speaks to not being able to find any help at first base. They had no solution there. That, again, tells you they were so locked in. They forgot certain things they had to do. They settled in other places. Even in the bullpen, you get Steven Matz. Your bullpen is overloaded with lefties now. You sent Brennan Bernardino down, who, yes, has been overworked, but has been one of your better relievers this year. You know what would have been better than Steven Matz? A hard-throwing right-hander for the later innings. That's what you needed really more than anything in that bullpen, but they didn't do that. And if you love Peyton Tolley so much that you're going to hold on to him, he could be that lefty late-inning arm you lean on. Righties hit .313 against Steven Matz. He's a loogie. Like, you're going to put him in the same spot you use Justin Wilson in. So, all right, he pitches on the day Wilson isn't there. That's not getting anyone going. That's not getting anyone excited. And it's definitely not leading to more than a win or two.
It's a disaster. And I hope someday we get the full story on how they screwed this up so badly. But this is an unmitigated disaster, and it should stick with Craig Breslow for a long time. And it's the type of thing where you say, this guy's not cut out for the job. I don't think that the baseball approach was wrong. You were saying this during the break, Milliken. Like, he's targeting the right guy. He's targeting Joe Ryan, but he doesn't know what to do when the Twins pull the rug out from him because the Twins have the experience and they had all the leverage and they screwed him. And most importantly, he let himself get screwed.
Rookie move, Craig. You got caught being a rookie, just like you got caught being a rookie with Rafael Devers and how you handled that. And it's so tough because you look at his moves over the last year. There was a lot of things to give Craig Breslow credit to. Alex Bregman, nailed it. Garrett Crochet, nailed it. Aroldis Chapman, best reliever in baseball. Carlos Narvaez, you found a franchise catcher that the Yankees traded you for Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. Justin Wilson, you revived his career. He's become good. He's had one bad miss this year, and it's Walker Buehler. That's the closest thing. Even Lucas Giolito, who missed a year with Tommy John, has come back, looks pretty damn good.
It's not the baseball stuff.
No.
It's everything else. It's the aptitude. It's the street smarts. It's a line that was used before the program tonight. He has baseball smarts, but he doesn't have street smarts. And that screwed them here. To you, 617-779-0985. Jeff in Boston. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys. Matt, I know you just touched on Joe Ryan a little bit, so I'll pivot more towards just Breslow in general, where I think, and like Bloom before him, too, these guys, these new chief baseball officers are just so afraid of making the wrong move, and they lack any conviction. And the fact that they were, afraid to be bad at their job is causing them to be bad at their job. And, you look at guys seasoned guys like Preller and Dombrowski, they have their fair share of bad moves that they make, but they continue to, be at the top of their game and dealing with other general managers because they have that pedigree and they're not afraid to take chances.
Jeff, I'm going to let you go on that because we've got so many people on the line, so I'm sorry to let you go because I think it's an important thought. I think you're a little off base in saying that Breslow's afraid. I don't think he's afraid. I think Breslow was willing to include his top prospect, Peyton Tolley, in that deal. That is, it's a risk. Anytime you include your top pitching prospect, there's a risk associated with that. Chaim Bloom was afraid. Chaim Bloom never wanted to trade prospects. Breslow has shown a willingness to trade prospects. He did that in the Garrett Crochet trade and then also signed Crochet to a $180 million extension. That That takes some guts. That is a bold move. I don't think he's afraid. I don't think he knows how to deal with people. That's his problem.
I agree. And you look at Heim. Heim was described as someone who was indecisive to the point where he would ask everyone, the entire kitchen, what do you think? Should we do this? I want your input. Craig, as we found out, he's closer to Dombrowski in that way. It's small circle. He's going to kind of do it his way. He has a couple people he's going to bounce off of, but not everyone's going to be involved in every single thing. But where you look at Craig, and he never hired a GM. That was a mistake that Chaim Bloom had when he had BOH. They never found the Bill LaJoy, kind of that older figure to guide him. Theo was seemingly that guy over the offseason. If you read about the Alex Bregman stuff, Theo was the one guiding him through a lot of that. I wonder where Theo was during this process. That's kind of the question, because it felt like he needed a little help from someone who's been in talks like that before at the deadline, and he fell flat because he didn't know exactly how to handle it.
Red Sox have the wrong guy in the room. Breslow's the wrong guy. Maybe the right baseball approach. He targeted the right player. Wrong guy in the room. Brian in Chelmsford. Hey, Brian.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Another part of this that's really frustrating to me is that usually – every trade deadline, you see these bigger names that move and you say, well, thank God we didn't give up that guy or this guy for this player and whatnot. I think Suarez has got like the fourth most home runs since 2017. He went for Seattle's 11th and 15th prospect. We could have beat that. And real quick, the other thing that frustrates me, we as fans, usually you could show your frustration to ownership by not going to games. For the last 3 years, they're selling out to opposing teams' fans anyways. So we can't even show that we're upset by their lack of action.
The fact of the matter is they've got you, they've got me, and they've got enough people. Because as upset and, frankly, I'm going to use the term hurt. I'm hurt. I'm stung today as a Red Sox fan. This deadline hit me harder than anything in a long time with this team. I know I'm going to fall for it again. They're going to get me again. That's what hurt about it. Milliken, where were you yesterday warning me? Where were you as a friend being like McCarthy? Thank you. You did. You failed me. Being like, don't do it. Don't get duped, you moron. They're going to dupe you again. Don't go down this road. Don't ever let me do this again to myself. Where are you?
It's like watching the same dude get broken up with by his girlfriend, and they're not a good couple. It's a toxic relationship, and she's going to keep breaking his heart. And that's what confuses me about this Red Sox team, because over the offseason, how things played out last year, going really into about late January, it felt like, man, the Red Sox have let everyone down. There was all this talk. This is before they signed Bregman. They had got Crochet at that point, but there was no Bregman. People hadn't felt like they really lived up to all their talk at the end of the year presser. Guess what? They get everyone to buy in and be excited with Alex Bregman. He shows up to camp. We get into the early parts of the season. They struggle. Break your heart again with the Rafael Devers trade. You wonder, man, why does this keep happening? And then they go on this run and they win you back, and you're like, holy hell, this might be the most exciting team since 2021. And then we hit the deadline, and guess what? Heart broken again. We're snapping it. It's so toxic and frustrating. And every time you feel like they pull you out and, hey, we're in a better spot, guess what? You feel like you fell even deeper into the hole that you were, in all reality, always in.
You let me down. I blame you.
I'm a failure.
For not pulling me out of this thing. It's a bad friend right there, Tyler Milliken. Stu, you let me down too.
Wow.
You got my hopes up. My friends let me down on this.
I was trying to break a story.
Can we blame Kevin Majori?
Everyone else be damned if I'm trying to break a story.
It hurt me. I think you had it right. That's the thing. I think
that's the worst part. Is that we had to watch detail the play-by-play of getting broken up.
Hey, when it comes to a lot of things in life, I'm a selfish prick, so breaking a news story, yup, selfish prick.
And breaking my heart in the process.
Selfish prick.
Thanks for that, Stu. I appreciate it. Quick update. I see on the phone lines. We'll take care of you next.
Sports Hub head.
last year's deadline with Craig Breslow, and this was an epic fail as well. Now, again, they met the same problem that the Cubs ran into. Joe Ryan is another starting pitcher who wasn't traded, but my understanding is any talks that they had with the Twins were feeble at best. They didn't come at them hard. The Red Sox are one of many teams that uses modeling and tries to figure out what the best values are, and it's all about efficiency and getting the best deal and this and that and the other thing. At some point, you've got to fire. It's the same thing we're saying with the Cubs. And they did not even address first base, which I know they've gotten decent work out of Romy Gonzalez and Abraham Toro, but my goodness, that was a position where they had to act. They tried for Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, and they tried with the idea of playing him at first base, didn't get him. Didn't get a starter other than Dustin May, who has not been a very successful starter for the Dodgers. And in their bullpen with Steven Matz, he's a swing guy. He can be effective, but my goodness, they needed more. This is a team that is on the rise. And again, they may say, we're going to be better next year. Our young guys will be that much better. Yeah, that's what the Orioles were saying a year ago. There is no guarantee in this sport or any other. So the Red Sox, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And there's going to be some people in Boston, a lot of people in Boston, questioning what the heck they did.
So many comments I want to get to there from Rosenthal, because I think that is in many ways the definitive cut, the definitive piece of commentary that's come out on the Red Sox in the last 24 hours. He said the Red Sox offer to the Twins for Joe Ryan was feeble at best. We have some new reporting on that in the last few minutes. Is that right, Milliken?
We do. Rob Bradford with this tweet, or it's on X if you want to go see it. Industry source confirms Red Sox various offers for Joe Ryan included multiple top 100 prospects and other minor leaguers. Tolle, Garcia, Arias, other top 10 prospects, all on the table. Same level of offers made for Alcantara. Main focus was on those controllable starters.
Do you believe it?
Yes. We were just having this conversation. We believe that Craig Breslow is aggressive enough to put these pieces on the table. We saw him do it for Garrett Crochet. The problem is when you couldn't get these deals done, what were you going to do? And in those moments, Craig Breslow collapsed and got you Dustin May, and he settled for Steven Matz. He didn't get you the bat they were chasing, and he didn't get you the playoff starter he wanted. Clearly, he wanted Joe Ryan or Sandy Alcantara that badly, but to not have a plan when you didn't get them, that is the biggest issue with all of this. Craig Breslow is not scared to be bold. The problem was he got played and he wasn't mature enough to realize what was happening in front of him.
Jimmy, do you believe that? Do you believe that Arias and Tolle and all these guys, multiple top 100 prospects, were on the table for Joe Ryan?
Yes, 100% yes.
Yes. I think both things can be true. So, because I think we've spent a lot of the last 24 hours arguing over were they close, were they not close? Because the Twins side of things is saying they're not close. The Red Sox side of things saying they were close. Both of those things, I know it sounds crazy, both of those things can be true. The Red Sox thought they were close because they were offering up the whole farm system, which I believe. The Twins are saying we weren't close because in the end, the Twins knew they were playing the Red Sox, wanted to play it out until the final minutes when they could then say, yeah, and throw Duran in on top of it too, or throw X in on top of it too. That's the way that's how I believe. Do you agree or disagree with that, Stu?
So I agree with that. And this goes back to a few weeks ago when Craig Breslow goes on the record to Chris Cotillo and Rob Bradford and says sometimes you spend 4 or 5 days working on a deal and you think you have a deal done and you don't. And I believe, as I think you guys do, that was a dig at the Minnesota Twins.
Yes.
Because that's when the Joe Ryan talk initially was percolating a lot. And there are different variations of it. Different people heard different things about it. So I could see the Twins being like, oh, you want to publicly criticize us? Oh, we'll take this down to the wire and double birds.
Yep.
We're going to waste your time.
That's what they did. Jimmy, I've been saying this now for 2 weeks.
I know.
When those comments came out.
That's where I came up with it.
I said, watch out. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, Stu. Watch out. And I was tweeting about this yesterday. Watch out. You've pissed off the Twins. Be careful. The Twins are trading everybody. You undeniably took a crap on them publicly. So just be careful when you're dealing with them. You probably pissed them off. And the Twins' approach is likely, the way I see it all playing out, all right, we're going to take you down to the wire. Then we're going to ask for something more. You're either going to acquiesce and give it to us because you have no choice, because you've been dumb enough to follow us down this road, or you're not going to do it and we're going to get you back. I mean, again, it comes down to dealing with people, and that's the major problem. Real quick, we're up against it. I want to do a lightning round here. I want to spend more time on it. I'll spend more time on it over the weekend. The part of the Rosenthal cut that people aren't paying enough attention to is him saying the Red Sox were in on Suarez.
Yes.
Which was not really reported anywhere else. He would have been a really good fit. They said they were interested in trying him out at first base. He could have also DH'd here because we can send Yoshida back to Siberia. Thank you very much. How did they not get Suarez or Naylor? Milliken, you can speak to this better than anybody else. Those guys went for nothing. Pennies on the dollar. We have not talked enough about Suarez going for crap. I mean, the Diamondbacks got crap from the Mariners for the best power hitter on the market. How are the Red Sox not in on that?
And this isn't just the Red Sox side. We'll get into it when we come back here. But Diamondbacks fans, the entire league was wondering, and just saying, the package is light. That is not what you thought you'd get for Suarez. Where were you to swoop in?
I want to do a lightning round real quick because we have an unbelievable giveaway. Part of a giveaway that I have not told you about yet, Milliken. But you got to be quick. I'm sorry. Stephen Fall River. Steve.
You guys need some self-awareness. You remember the talk after the Devers trade? They were lionizing Buster Posey. We got a dude. We got this. We got that.
Yeah, they didn't. And I got to let you go on that. I mean, it's a lightning round as lightning round does.
And you need to do the contest right now at this very moment. It's time sensitive.
Oh, at this very moment. Okay,
yes.
Here we go. Sorry, I thought it was after the break, Stu. I apologize. How would you like a free truck, Tyler Milliken?
I would love one.
Here's the deal. If this is your Instagram username, you have 5 seconds. You have 985 seconds, 16 minutes and 25 seconds to call us back at 617-931-0985 to qualify to win a 2025 F-150 from McGovern Automotive Group and 98.5 The Sports Hub. That's the deal. So if this is your Instagram username, you've got 16 minutes, 25 seconds to call us. D.Hoot19. If that is your IG username, D.Hoot19, you have 985 seconds to call us back at 617-931-0985 to win a chance to qualify a 2025 F-150 from McGovern Automotive Group and 98.5 The Sports Hub. Truck, yeah, that's awesome. You didn't know Milliken was going to try and give you a truck tonight.
That's what I do.
That's what you need to do. D.Hoot19. You're on the clock. Lightning round when we come back, I promise you.
This